here's the dado that I get. Now, of course, I would want to take my insert piece, and try to put it in there. And of course, this is too small. Okay, so I would want to go back and make this a little bit larger. Okay, and keep it in mind that after you paint something, okay, that paint does add some significance to it. It might fit perfectly, and then you put a little paint on it, and all of a sudden it just doesn't want to go. It's better to make it just a little bit larger, a little bit wider. Okay, so I'm going to take this over. I'm going to just tap it over slightly here. Okay, I take a look and kind of line that up. Looks like it's going to take a little bit more up. I'm fine with that. Again, this is my sample piece. I wouldn't be using this actual piece, okay, only because it's kind of wrecked already. Okay, so my eyes are looking along the edge here, nice and tight. I got the push stick in the middle. Grab the blade, take it, push it all the way through. So you do want this to slide nicely, and that slides nicely. Okay, that's what I want. Okay, you do that for the top and the bottom piece. Okay, for where that goes. And so that's kind of what we've got here. Okay, you've got this piece. That's what we've done. So we've done you've got the back. And a lot of time what I'll do is I will recommend somebody when they're doing their pieces to mark this off as an F. Okay, an F for the front, B for the back, that kind of thing, so you don't get lost. Sometimes when you're twisting and turning and moving the wood around and that, it's kind of hard when it's kind of hard to remember which was which, and then you want to go and you make a mistake. You're like, oh, now you got to go back and start all over again. So you really want to be careful about what it is that you go ahead and do. I'm not worried about these burrs. I can take them off with a bit of sandpaper. We're good to go that way. But I need to make sure that my top, so this is my top or bottom, we'll call this my top. I'd have another piece identical to this, okay? It would be my bottom, and then I'd have two sides. The one side I don't touch at all. So here's an example, okay? When they're actually put together. So I have one side I didn't touch at all. The other side though, I do end up touching. Okay? And here's where it becomes critical. I now end up having to go ahead and to make this a little more simplistic for the kids, is I have to make another dado. Okay? Now the second dado that you go ahead and you make on here is really crucial. And it's crucial because this is the gap, this is the space that you're going to have for making for your specific tablet. So whether it's a Surface RT, a Samsung, or one of the versions of the Apple iPad, doesn't matter. Okay, it only matters that it fits within here and then that it slides. So you have to make it, and it's going to sit on this little ledge. So if I look right here, you can kind of see right here, it's this little lip that it fits on, that little lip. So I know one of the girls in class, she had a large 10-inch or 10.5-inch Samsung tablet. It was quite large and quite thick. And that's okay. The RTs tend to be a little bit on the thicker side. So this is where you have to go and use that. So you have to measure your tablet, measure the thickness, okay, and accommodate that. So that's where you would go and you would measure off from the edge of this lip, okay, all the way over to wherever you need it. Okay, so if this was the mark for, that's how much space you needed, then you would take it, okay, you would mark it as such, and then you would just draw your line on here. Okay, so all I do is I use my fingers as guides, lock my pencil in place, and I just draw my line across. So that's the space. So what I do is I have the kids write tablet. Okay, tablet on there. All right, so that they remember that that's where the tablet goes. Now, I use this, okay, I create another dado similar to the one I've had. It doesn't have to be as wide, and there's no specific rhyme or reason for how wide it has to be. What I use that for, I put my backings in place. And I want to go ahead and if I do everything nice with 90-degree angles and everything, I should be able to make it so everything's nicely squared up, and I can just slide it in, and I've got a nice backing on it. And that's kind of what I've done. Now this one here, obviously glued a little bit off, but nothing major. Okay, there's still plenty of room. What I don't want is what I've got here, okay, if you can look inside here, you can see there's a little lip right here. That could cause me to have problems with my tablet going in, so that's why this one wasn't used. All right, this has to kind of go back a little bit, like that, okay? And it wasn't put in properly, so that's why we've got a problem with that one, okay? For my edge, for my ends, if I had an end and it was the same, so I had an end, okay, and I had to cut it, what I would end up doing is after I've got this piece, we'll cut this dado out here. Let's cut that dado out. Don't get too ahead of ourselves, okay? I will attempt to set this up. Okay, I'll look here, and what I do is I think I'm pretty good at lining things up, but a lot of the kids aren't. So what I suggest they do is they try to eye it up the best they can, and then they flip it over, and now they're just going to listen here for a quick second. As soon as you hear it bite into it, just pull it right back, okay? And so you can see a little mark that I've made, and you can see I'm just a hair off there, okay? You can see I'm just a little off there. Not major, but just a little off there. So I tried ironing it up. It's not gonna make any significant difference here. If I go back and I make this cut, I'm only gonna lose that little tiny piece there. That's why I get them to do this. So what I'll do is I'll move this over slightly. Okay, try that again, and we should be better off. I'm in a better spot, so that works out well. So I'm almost exactly right on the line there. So if I take a look right, that's where I am on the edge. So I should take that off, and I should be fine. Now, you should leave yourself a little bit of room so the tablet slides in. You don't want the tablet scratching the front or the back or anything when it goes in or out. So you do want to leave yourself a little bit of room, but again, not too much room and it wobbles and everything else, and it doesn't look effective. Okay? So that's really important. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to cut this off, and I'm going to kind of move it over a little bit to give myself a little bit of meat. Okay? Yeah, nice and straight. All the way through. Some people like to have a little stick. Like to have like a little push stick with something to push against like this. Okay, to help hold it in tight. I'm pretty comfortable with my stance or where I am, but you know, if you feel comfortable doing that, it's not a bad idea either. So again, I'm just going to take this and move this over slightly. Okay, so I can do this. Don't hold it so tight that it's almost impossible for you to go ahead and push it through. Okay, again, I don't need too much there to kind of throw in there. I'm going to do one more, but nothing major. So I've really got, now I would do this for the top and the bottom. So when it's set up for one, you just do it. So you do both pieces and then you move it over. Both pieces, then you move it over. Don't do one and then come back and have to reset it up. It's way more difficult, okay? Better to set it up and just go ahead and do it. Now, I'm in really good shape. If I've got my top and bottom and they look exactly like this and they're all squared off, which is what I need them to be, I'm in really good shape. I'll have my ends, okay? Now my ends don't look like this, but if this is one of my ends, what I would end up doing now is I would measure this off from the front, okay? This obviously aligns with here, because that's what we attempted to go ahead and do earlier on. I know they're different pieces of wood, we're fine. It's only for demonstration purposes. I would set this up, okay? This up for where we've got to go. And what I want to do now is I want to eliminate, I want to keep this, okay? And I'm just going to flip this around for a quick second. Draw this line out. Okay, and then I want to get rid of this. Gone. All this is gone, okay? I want to keep this, okay, and keep this, the circle K there. Everything else is gone, so I'm going to end up making two cuts, and this is where I do it at the end, because now I'm going to have to adjust my table saw height to go and accommodate this, to go and cut right through. So what I do, I'm going to want to keep this piece, okay? So in order to do this, I would flip it over and just kind of line it up. Not a bad idea to turn it off just to make sure, okay? And that's pretty darn close. I could maybe move it over just a hair, but you're not too concerned about that, okay? It goes in, so that's pretty darn close. So that's good. So what I'll do here is I'm gonna raise this blade up, okay? And I'm just gonna cut that piece off. I wanna keep everything here. So the piece that falls off on the left-hand side, I wanna keep. That's the piece I'm gonna use. That's this piece, okay? That's this piece right here. Okay, so this is where making this a little thicker comes in handy, because now you have a little bit more surface area in which to kind of go. If you wanted to pin it, you could do that. Something a little bit thinner makes it a lot more challenging to go ahead and do. Okay, so we'll do that. I'm going to cut that off. Oh, it'd be nice if I turn the machine on. Always helps. Where my eyes are, right in here. I tell kids sometimes just to go ahead, they can take it, you let it fall on the ground. Doesn't matter, it's just a piece of wood. It's not gonna kill anything by letting it touch and fall on the ground. Okay? So again, I'm gonna get this set up. I'm gonna try to eye this up best I can. Again, if I don't take off enough, I can always move it back and take a little more off. If I take too much off, I can't put it back on. Not in this case. Okay?